Hello everyone, and this is BioPhoenix here, and today we're going to be doing yet another random ass anime review, and it's the first one I'm doing in 2020. So the one I'm taking a look at today is Suikoden Demon Sentry. Now I know what you're all thinking, that this is an anime based after the video game series from Konami. Well, it's not. In fact, this anime actually came out before the games did. But I also have to mention that the person that suggested me to watch this one is a good friend of mine on YouTube, and that happens to be SegaCDUniverse. And funny enough, he wanted me to watch this one because he actually rented this one many years ago at a Blockbuster thinking that it was based after the games, and he was very confused by it. Now back then, I can understand the confusion given that, we didn't have like cell phones that we can go on the internet for, but right now though, yeah, there definitely should not be any confusion. But still a pretty amusing story nonetheless. So anyways, with that said, now let's start talking about the story. So it takes place in Japan, where everything has been destroyed by an earthquake. And the Japanese government has been collapsed, and now the entire land is just filled with like tons of different criminal activity. So it stars our main character Suga, who, oddly enough, looks very similar to Gene Starwind from Outlaw Star, but only if he was like many years younger. So he is a young man that knows how to make his way out of a fight, and he is looking for his sister, who has been kidnapped by a powerful gang. But everywhere he's looking though, he always seems to get himself in a situation where he ends up meeting a very strange person. So the first person that he meets is Ryo Hamura. And now it makes me wonder if he's related to Kenshin, so he ends up meeting him at a bar, and after when they get into a fight, they realize each other's fighting stance. And then he realizes that he's actually not an asshole. But then there's another character that's listening in, and that happens to be Miyuki. And Miyuki is really interested in Suga and wants to help him out, but here's the thing though, he's actually a drag queen. And they make quite a lot of jokes about that too, and they are very unpolitically correct about it, and I am so offended. Obviously, I'm fucking joking here, but to be serious though, I actually did thought about that if this anime ever did get like a re-release or got like released on Netflix or something, people would get so offended over it. But as these two characters are traveling along, they end up rescuing some kids that are getting bullied by a bunch of dudes. And the kids actually belong to a church, and the church is actually being owned by Father Owen and Sister Seiko. And these two characters in return also help out Sugo, and man, all I gotta say about them is that even though they're a priest and a nun, they're actually kind of badasses. For an example, there's a part where Father Owen is on the back of a truck in an outfit that looks like Rambo, using a chain gun, killing people, and even blowing up a helicopter. Like, holy shit. So yeah, that pretty much sums up what you need to know. It's all about Suga, who is just being attacked by a bunch of gangs while his sister is being kidnapped and he's trying to rescue her. And he is paired up with a bunch of characters that are pretty damn random. Although there is one other thing I didn't explain, and I guess it would be kind of considered a spoiler, but the thing is though, I'll flat out say it here that this is not really what I would call a smart film, so because of that, you can probably take a guess what would happen anyways. Well, pretty much, hundreds of years ago, there was actually two demons that were actually fighting each other, and they would eventually get reincarnated into the modern times, and well, after saying that, I'm pretty sure you can take a guess who is who. Well anyways, now let's get moving on and start talking about the animation. And I'd say that the animation in this one is pretty decent, nothing mind-blowing, but it's at least serviceable and pretty good for what it is. But the character designs are also pretty decent as well, and like I said, the fact that the main character looks like Gene Starwind is actually kinda awesome. But as for the rest of the characters, they're alright, nothing that super stands out though, but nothing I can complain about. But the action scenes though are done pretty well, and are actually fun enough. So overall, I'd at least say that the animation in this one is actually pretty decent. But as for the music though, to be honest, after just watching it, I don't even remember a thing about the music. The only thing I do remember is the ending credits, which does sound pretty cool, but other than that though, there's really not much to say about the music. In fact, I barely noticed it throughout most of the film. And as for the voice acting, if you're going to be watching in English, it's pretty bad, but it's at least kind of funny bad. So the main character Suga is actually played by Spike Spencer, and I really do like Spike Spencer, but the thing is, in this role, there are some lines that are actually done pretty well and that do fit the character, but then there's other lines where he's just a little bit too high-pitched. Now, I know when it comes to Spike Spencer, people always think of him as the Shinji Ikari because, that's like his most famous role. But the thing is, though, he has played quite a few characters that are definitely not like Shinji at all, and I think they actually suit really well. For an example, I think he did do a really good job as Arakun from the BlazBlue series, and even Jack Hamilton from Art and Ellico. So after hearing him do roles like that, I think he definitely could have fit this role really well, but unfortunately, it was just a little bit inconsistent with the voice directing. And then Miyuki is being played by Aaron Cron. Now, I've never heard of this voice actor before, but yeah, it's not really good, but it was at least amusing. And then Father Owen was played by Rob Mongol, who actually did do a decent job. Honestly, I'd actually say he was probably the best role in here. But as for the rest of them though, yeah, they're either okay or just not very good, but they're at least kind of funny bad. Also, another thing that was pretty damn funny is that there's actually a scene where the character Ryo is actually taking a shower and he starts singing, "I'm too sexy." Yeah, that happens. So obviously, knowing all this, the Japanese version is definitely the better one to watch, but the dub version of it though, well, it does have its amusing funny parts, but I definitely can't say that the voice acting is good though. So now, what are my overall thoughts on Totally Not Suikoden, the RPG series, the anime? Well, I'm not gonna lie to you guys, I did somewhat like this one, but I definitely wouldn't say it's great or amazing. I find this to be one of those animes that is just so stupid, but yet it's also kind of fun. And thankfully, this one doesn't take itself super seriously and is very non-pretentious. It knows exactly what it's trying to be. It's not gonna win any awards, it's not gonna blow your mind, it's not gonna make you jizz your pants, or at least probably not. But I did find it to be mindless fun entertainment. But if there is one issue that this film does have, is that I do find that the whole thing about the demons being reincarnated as humans, and obviously who is going to be which one, that whole thing, yeah, I could have dealt without that. But other than that though, this film was definitely not a boring film, at least I didn't find it to be. Now, like I said earlier, you get to see a priest on a chain gun and dressed up like Rambo killing people. If you know how to make something like that boring, then you really are a savant of crap. So yeah, overall, I'd say that this anime is at the very least decent. Not great or amazing or really all that good, but it's at least kinda so dumb it's fun. But as for recommendations, well, the film is 45 minutes long, so it's really not long at all, and like I said, I did at least found it to be kind of fun, and definitely not boring and dull. So I'd really only recommend it if you want something that is a quick, easy, fun fix. But yeah, I know, it's disappointing that there's no evil character like Luca in this film, though.